Challenge accepted. Hello, I am very excited to be trying out something brand new today and something kind of requested, if not directly. So I'm testing out Villainy Inks enamel washes, and we recently did a news review. People have always enjoyed our kind of product testing ones. This is part product test, part tutorial, I guess. And in our last one, which was a acrylic version of an oil wash using a medium that's very clever, which you can check out if you like. A lot of people essentially said, like, can you try the real deal, being oils or enamels? Here you go, we've got the messy, intimidating, they're not intimidating, they're fine, world of kind of using spirits and stuff to thin things. These unlock some stuff you cannot get another way easily. And they are not as faffy as people think. You don't need to varnish your model to protect it. Mine was fine. We had no slip-ups, nothing got stripped or anything like that. And at the end of the day, mostly they're just super fun. Last, but very much not least, a load of content creators are going to be covering the Villainy Inks soon, from what I gather from chatting to them. So I'll make sure that as they do, I update the pinned comment below this. So go and check that out, because they'll probably discover some different stuff to me. And some of them, Spen's painting in particular, has already helped me out and given me some really good information on them for getting the most out of them. So I'll cover some more tips and tricks at the end, but for now, let's just jump into my discoveries and try and do something GRIMDARK, which is something that I at least have always struggled with. Maybe these will help, who knows? Okay, so this is something I've covered on the channel a fair bit, and it's just how to get a base coat down fast. You can do this pretty much any way you want out of 3 ways. So I've got mine down now. Whether you have an airbrush, whether you're layering, or whether you're dry brushing, it's all really simple. So number one, we're going to give ourselves the easiest possible go of it by using a strong gold. And then what we're going to do actually is just pop in a black in this circumstance. So you could pop in a brown. I do that pretty frequently, but popping in a black is a really good way to get a kind of old gold. Got this old shield here that I'll re-base coat. You could go over brown undercoat, that'd help, but if you're using strong paint, then you shouldn't need that much help. Retributor. This black will overpower it, so you've got to be careful with your ratios. Don't just spooge in a load of black. All right, we've got this beautiful old gold color. You could use a Baden black for this as well, if you've got that. If we are stippling, which we are, 1 drop of water in the pad, press it in, and I am expecting pretty much 1 coat coverage here, but we will do 2 thin coats if we need to. So a little bit on the brush, there we go. That's it, and you just do that twice. So you make sure there's no drift anywhere. That's the main important bit. You could stipple it, you can smush it, you can layer it. All of these theories hold true for airbrushing as well. That's it. I mean, it pretty much worked in 1 coat anyway, right? So that is how you get a good base coat fast in any color with gold. You know, you could have old gold, bright gold, you just add some silver in. We've added some black in, you could add green in, whatever you like. So stage 2, you've got your base coat down. Now we need to go for high contrast here because we're going to put some stuff over it. So I've gone straight to a very strong silver. You could use any strong silver here. I'm using Vallejo Game Air silver. And it's important you give your brush a little bit of a clean, but you don't have to be obsessive. You don't have to get 100% of the previous paint out with a brush. I'm probably going to pop this on a base to help. You can use a small base on purpose so that I can reach him easier without the base getting in the way. You could take the shield off as well. I've just pressed mine in because you can with these models. A little bit of our previous gold, and a little bit of silver. The silver's very strong, so you need a tiny amount of that. All right, and then the important bit here. Light touch. You could put in more silver. It's all about going for the high contrast here. Put a little bit more into the brush. The more we mix the brush, the more we use the water, the more it's going to mix the previous gold. Test it somewhere else. There we go. You're not going to do subsequent layers. You're just going to repeat this and carry on going. So get this all over the model. You could put more on the brush and do it more light if you wanted to just hit the edges. I'm trying to pretty much hit everything. So I've got a little bit on the brush and I'm going quite heavy. Nice, patient dry brushing. I mean, I say patient, we're going so fast anyway. There's no reason that you would need to speed this up anymore. The reason we're doing high contrast is that we're going to be obscuring stuff a little bit, or at least filtering it with our kind of following wash layers. I'm going to make his hammer silver lazily just by dry brushing it heavily at this stage, more heavily than the rest was at least. Easy. So because we're going to obscure a load of the steps, there's no reward for subtlety in terms of like taking a load of steps to get here. We're going to do subtle dry brush technique, but the color steps are not subtle. Make sure we've not missed anywhere because of access, turn it upside down. That should be everywhere covered. You could edge highlight edges at this stage, but that's entirely up to you. I'm fine with it kind of how we are now, and it's already looking pretty good. Right, cheaty techniques. I'm going to hit his chainmail heavily because I want it to look like it's basically just silver. You could just hit chainmail or something as well. Sorry, this is scale mail. You could do it with chain mail. I've hit it really, really heavily, just like we did with the weapon. That's enough. I've just realized I've done something that I always do, which is to not go from the back of the shield. So even though my intent here is to hit the sides, I need to make sure that I go from the right direction to not miss anything. And I forgot one foot. You don't forget a Stormcast feat ever, because they got the best Greaves and Sabatons in Age of Sigmar. If anyone thinks otherwise, let me know. So here's where we are at. Those edges have been hit nicely. This looks pretty much predominantly silver. Not being super fussy here, but you know, we're trying to silver out the hammer and the other areas. And then the recesses are that dark, kind of slightly older black added gold. Okay, we have some new toys on the channel for the first time. I'm extremely excited to try these. I've never personally managed to achieve something grimdarky. I think it's because I'm not very good at following instructions. Ironic. So I'm gonna give these a go. I've heard you need to shake them a lot. I'm really excited to try them. There's some very cool colors in there, particularly this one. So yeah, let's see how this goes. Everyone loves new hobby things. Ooh, some fiddling later. That's what I'm interested in. I've left this box on its side to try and make sure that it's not settled at the bottom. I can't really see how the stuff is in here, but I've heard lots you need to shake it a lot, and often it helps them to be warm. So I'm just gonna hold it in my hand and give this a really good shake, and then we'll check it out. Not only have I heard about the shaking, but I've heard the pipette gets a bit blocked from them sitting in transit. How do I open you? Excitement builds. Okay, so we have our white spirit. You can use enamel thinners. Gonna get an old brush, a very old brush. It's a very old 2 of mine, and let's give this a go. It's a cool color. I'm gonna test this somewhere, like low down. Maybe I want to use one of the colored ones first, actually. Yeah, I think maybe I want to use a colored one first. Oh, it's fun though. I mean, okay. Have a look at the other options. Let's just go safe for brown. Because the size of the model, I don't think I'm going to need that much. Pop some on the side of my palette. Let's see how the brown looks. Cool. Been a while since I've done something like this. Maybe I should have painted the rest of the model, but I was just excited. Okay, I'm going to mix a little bit of the black in to kind of increase the contrast. Maybe we can skip a step as a result of that. Oh, look at it. Winner. Absolute winner. Quickly coat him up. You could airbrush this on if you wanted. And we'll see how we're looking. Didn't want you guys to miss the joy of seeing this run around the details of the shield. Look at that. So much fun. I do wonder if I should have put green in. It's a nice thing about using products like this. They just want to mix with each other so much. I could add green on now. I could add it in with my wash. Just really wouldn't matter too much. I could put some blue in when I'm washing the bits that are meant to be silver, but I'm just going to cake it down and then we'll have fun removing it. Got a little tip for using cotton buds or Q-tips from Spen's painting. You need to kind of roll it off, and then you're less likely to get fluff because it keeps the fluff staying around. Kind of wrap it around your tool like noodles around a fork or something, or spaghetti around a fork. Probably could have gone heavier, I think, but that just means that we can do a second one. So you're reverse highlighting here. Anything that sticks out, you want to be lighter, or it's towards the top. This is where we get the benefits of that silver that we did, because I can knock through to that. It looks quite a lot brighter than the gold that we started with. Move a lot from that weapon. It's so easy. It's just cheating, isn't it? Amazing. Be such a good looking army. This with good cloaks. Done. So now it's dried. Grab a little bit more white spirit, and then anywhere I specifically really want to clean, you can just kind of buff it up with a ever so slightly damp cotton bud, or you could brush it off with a ever so slightly damp brush, whatever works best. You could also use sponge or something like that. Up to you. All right, it is a miracle I have avoided something like that until now, but I'm not going to last any longer. Let's go. Any idea of that colour? Cool, isn't it? Now to resist putting it everywhere. I don't know if I can. Let's find out. Oh, it's great. I don't think I have a particular plan with this. I'm just going to blob it around because it looks nice. I'm going to do this with this and then a purple. And I don't particularly have a plan, but we're going to add some colour to our man on the gold bits. And maybe I'll put a blue on the silvery bits. Fast and loose, getting there. Screw purple, we got crimson. One of the nice things about gold is that pretty much any colour apart from blue looks great on it. So yellow, that looks strong. Just be a little bit more sparing with it. There's worse places to make mistakes than on a First attempt at a GRIMDARK model. You can take it. You don't have to have a plan because they're strong colours, but you're just going to push them to the back. And we've chosen, like I said, all colours work pretty well with gold, so we're kind of safe. So don't worry about you having to have some master plan. We're just making our miniature look more interesting, subtle-ish. And it's kind of works as well. I think we're doing all right. You can follow exactly this recipe if you're worried about the colour choices, and things will probably go fine. Final step. This one sounds interesting. The fact that it's got a grey in there means that it's gonna look grey. Obvious statement. I've used too much of all of these, by the way. You don't need to put as much out as you think, so kind of be aware of that. What I meant to say about it being grey is it's gonna leave what looks like a residue, probably. Should add a bit of age. Kind of remove some colour. I'm running out of places to put it. We'll dab it on in a few areas. Probably call it there. Our gold does look old. Objective achieved as far as that's concerned, for sure. I think my favourite's the crimson. Oh, forgotten in here. There we go. Right, I'm going back and adding more of the crimson because no carefully considered opinions here. It's my favourite colour, so I want it to be more noticeable. So I'm putting it where I put it before, and I'm just going to try and remove less. So I might change tool from the cotton bud. Yeah, I'm just blobbing it there, mostly concentrating on the recesses. Such a cool colour. No plan, just have fun. And then removal, I'm just going to wipe it off. You should probably use a tool for this, or you can be a climber and have needlessly tough hands. Yeah, so a bit more noticeable now around the knee and stuff. If I'd varnished beforehand, maybe it would have been easy to remove stuff 100% where I want and leave it in the gaps, but I'm kind of cool with how it's looking. Right, hopefully I have either hair dried enough or been patient enough. Maybe I haven't, I guess we'll find out. I'm just gonna repeat a final silver gold dry brush. Now I want this one to jump onto the edges a bit more, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a little bit more paint on the brush, and I'm gonna use a lower pressure carefully. Because we are trying to not disturb stuff that I haven't let fully dry in the recesses, we should be being careful anyway, so this works for a number of reasons. It's hard to appreciate how this will look without me finishing off the rest of it. I'm going to quickly kind of bash out using some fairly drab colours, purity seals, and I'm going to use word bearers and screaming skull for his, I think I'm going to give him a human head. He's very bold, a bold human head. And with the seals done and maybe some like browny red weapon grips and stuff, we'll have a good idea of how it looks as a whole. Okay, so we blocked in some areas, and I'm going to show you a refresher on an absolutely cheaty piece of tech, which is to use Drakenhof Nightshade over gold to make it look silver in basically one step. We've done it on hammer and we've done it on chainmail here. It's not diluted, but there's some water in my brush, so it's like a medium application. Don't go on thick, but you can turn anything into what looks like a steel from a gold in one go. So I've done 2 steps there. That's probably as much as you should. You can dry brush this silver, and that'll of course pick up the raised edges. But yeah, in a oneer, it's just such an efficient way to change one metallic into another. You can do it and drop it in the shield as well. Check out one of our old tutorials, which we'll link up here for more on there. All right, we're done. Super fun, went really well, went pretty fast. The faff is quite low, and I think people worry about the faff unnecessarily. One thing I would say on that note is that the moment you're doing more than one model, or maybe you're doing more than 2 or something like that, any like setup and kind of having to organize things afterwards or clean things or put away your spirits or gloves or whatever else it is, you're dividing that by more and more models. So I think these make particular sense if you're doing like 5 or more models at once, if they're infantry or something like that. So maybe that's a good way to think about it. I wanted to drop a few things here. Spen gave me some tips, Spen's painting, before I used it, and I should have followed the make it brighter in the beginning one more diligently. So if I'd started a little bit brighter, these are going to dull whatever you do, even though they've got some nice vibrant colors. So do start really punchy because you can just use them multiple times if you want to dull it down. And the other observation he made, which is a really good one, I think, is that these aren't as ultra matte as other similar products. That makes them particularly good for metallics because they won't pull away the sheen. I think that's really, really cool, and that's a very intelligent observation of his. Do check out his channel and check out the content from the makers. They really do know what they're doing, which is unsurprising considering that they designed them. And check out the content from other people who are undoubtedly going to be testing it in the future. We've got some more content on how we did the rest of this guy, so check out the face from that as well, because I think it's a really good way to add to it, and it's a really good mix of like mega fast and then slowing down a little bit for a key area, which is the face, maybe add some blood effects. This would look fantastic, and you could get an army on the table so quick. Thank you very much. Please like, please comment, please subscribe if you're not. And the best suggestion for a future product testing video below, or kind of main tutorial theme, will get a texture palette of your choosing and a 5-brush set of your choosing. So get involved in the comments. Thank you. We'll catch you in the next video.